Okay, everyone, please try to proceed to the seats. It's 7 o'clock, okay? In the end, we will have pizza and coffee, and you can eat it and exchange name cards and talk. And usually it happening like all the way till 9, so don't worry. People usually stay here after the event as well.
Are you tired?
Okay.
I'm energized.
That's great. I love it.
So who like to start it usually at 5:30? Can you raise your hand? Who likes 5:30? Who likes 6? Who likes 6:30? Who likes 7? Okay, 6:30 is the median, looks like. Who likes 10 p.m.? No? No one? So 6:30 is your more preference time, right? Pretty much. All right. Yeah, that is when everybody is coming, around 6 o'clock. So nice we wait for you. All
I
right.
don't have a Singapore number yet.
Okay.
My number. All my accounts are there.
So, hi everyone, my name is Alex. I'm running FD in Singapore. This is our WhatsApp group. That's where we chat. This is where we do all the announcement. That's where we announce that we're going to be late today. But since not all of you are in there, it's a good chance to join the group. And then next time you will know when we are too early or too late. And for many other reasons, we actually post a lot of things. We post a podcast about FD and other things, right? So, and yeah, join the group. Join the group. Join the group. Did you join the group?
I joined.
Yeah. Raise your hand who haven't joined the group. Raise your hand who have joined the group.
Yeah.
Okay, I see people who didn't raise hand in both cases. Okay, all right. This is another group. This is official group from Faith-Driven Entrepreneur from their website. This is where FDE is providing you with all the materials. They give you this free ebook that is pretty much connected to everything we do here. Yeah, this QR code is bigger, so it's even more pleasant to scan. You can try it. Yeah, okay. And this is the introduction of the community for those who join us for the first time.
From tech ventures to retail, from startup to scale, entrepreneurs travel a lonely road, but our journey to create doesn't have to be alone. As faith-driven leaders, we are part of a vibrant community. The industry and address may look different, and yet our shared identity is firmly rooted in Christ. The good news? You don't have to hop on a plane to find this movement. It's wherever you are. This is especially true with our faith-driven entrepreneur groups. Gather with other like-minded business owners online or in person. Start with an 8-week foundation course. From there, continue meeting monthly. No cost, no catch, just connection. Already, thousands of entrepreneurs from nearly 100 different countries have connected with one another. Featuring dozens of episodes filmed around the world, video stories and teachings address issues common to faith-driven entrepreneurs. These groups give you time to share and discuss together, from our identity and our calling, to the ways we pursue excellence and steward what God has entrusted to us. Perhaps this is the first time you're in community with like-minded entrepreneurs. Or maybe this is quickly becoming a part of your journey. Wherever you are, others can meet you there. Be reminded that we're all connected to something bigger than any one person, business, or country. Faith-driven entrepreneur is made up of each one of us, and it is driven by all of us. Together, we're making the journey of entrepreneurs less lonely.
That unites entrepreneurs across the world is the biggest community so far, and it's expanding in Asia. Pretty much every country has one. It's just like, I like to call it alpha, but for entrepreneurs, because it's a very structured program, but from another point of view, it's very much catered to the struggles and the wins that we face as entrepreneurs. So most of the people here either running a VC or a business or anyhow related, or maybe do it before, or maybe starting a new one, and that's what unites us. What we do differently in Singapore, we always start from praise and worship. So can I ask everyone to stand on your feet, and I think all of you know this song. The splendor of the King, the closest majesty, and all the world rejoice, all the world rejoice. He wrapped himself with light, darkness tried to hide, but with his voice, trembles on his voice. How great is our God, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Repeat one more time. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Ancient heaven is there. Zion in his hands, beginning to the end, beginning to the end. The God is three and one. The Father, Spirit, Son, Lion in the Lamb, the Lion in the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? How great is our God? How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Yes, let's see how great is our God. The name above all names, worthy of all praise, and my heart will sing how great is our God. The name above all names, worthy of all praise, and my heart will sing how great is our God. Beginning, splendor of the King, Lord's majesty, all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. Troubles in his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Oh, we'll sing how great is our God? How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Oh, sing how great is our God? How great is our God? How great is our God? Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Father, we gathering here for the 8th time. We pray you bring our investor gathering. We will like to share each other all the problems that we have and the weeds. We will be able to genuinely share with each other, understand each other, share experience. You understand all the materials provided. Jesus, you help us to apply to our business. And we will be building business not just for people, but for you, God. For you, God. You are our CEO. We pray to you, God. You give us peace in troubles and every we meet, and give us a community. Thank you for giving this community this praise in Jesus' name. All people say, Amen. And this is my favorite part because everybody gonna. You can sit. Yes. Or you can stand if you like. Everybody gonna introduce yourself just a little bit. Tell us what brought you here, and say some fun fact about yourself. That's mandatory. You gotta come up with a fun fact. And since you just joined today, I'll start from this side so you can come up with some fun fact about yourself. You want to start? Okay, sure. So, what is Block 71 is really good is a microphone, so we have plenty of them.
Right. My name is Dr. Cyber Pastor. Through the nick, I run a cybersecurity company. I'm also a pastor, lay pastor. So I run a cybersecurity business that does services for the government, Singapore government. And we build a software that is now tailored for SMBs, make it affordable for them. Right. So that's 1 minute.
And what's the fun fact? The name?
Fun fact, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Another fun fact: I play football. This leg has got 3 surgeries. I'm still playing.
Oh wow, good. But are they moving with a different speed, the legs, or the same?
Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I do headhunting, right? So what brings me here today is basically I was journeying with the Lord, and then so I decided that I wanted to actually find a way to actually merge business and work. I actually found this event on Eventbrite. One interesting fact is that I don't know. I play volleyball. Okay, thank you.
Good. So thanks for Eventbrite. Actually, many people finding us there, and I think it really helps Singapore also to know that this kind of communities exist here, and you can come. Yes, and thanks God for Eventbrite to exist. All right, how about you?
So hi everyone, so I'm Sam. My interesting fact is I'm a dentist in Singapore, and in terms of business and entrepreneur, I'm in the beginning stage of starting a property development business in the UK. So that's my story. So very excited to have.
So you're a dentist, but you're starting a property development company in the UK.
Yes, well, we've secured our.
So how about
project.
property developers in the UK? Are they also dentists usually? Or
No.
No?
But
Yeah, just
obviously investors can come. from
logic doesn't
anywhere.
work both ways, right? Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm Desmond. I'm actually in the medical technology and manufacturing business. I'm literally here, disclaimer, because my pastor asked me to come and then tell him what I think about the session. So otherwise, I honestly didn't know about this, but I'm glad to be here. Fun fact, I volunteer in the Boys Brigade, so I do that every Friday afternoon.
Okay, all right. So just so like we, as faith driven, we really like pastors adopt this in churches as well. So if you feel like in your church there is a room for starting something like this, and you feel like you can do it, I'm more than happy to help you and give you all the materials and in all the ways, because that's actually that's what we aim at eventually, to have it in churches as well. Sorry, please.
Yeah, start with fun fact about myself. I'm moving to Bali slowly but steadily to build a permaculture eco village.
Oh well.
Yes, for Kingdom Eco Village. So one day you may want to come to have a free stay with us, and we feed you and give you rest. You need a place to get away from all.
Yes.
So
We can gather in the next graduation as well, right? No need to be free though. But
Yes. Just come
Okay,
to Bali,
alright.
you know Bali, and learn how to grow your own crops and how to be self-sustainable. And we will have solar, we have rainwater harvesting.
So in Bali, the soil seems to be very like
Fantastic, yes.
not the same as in Bintan, is it?
No.
In Bintan it's all red everywhere. I don't know how that thing can grow there
Yeah.
even, but in Bali it's very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay, all right.
So my business, my core business, I produce generic medicine in Singapore. And also I just built a new factory in Semarang. And future business, I want to go into the, real estate developer, but more for production space or processing space. Anything that you need processing that needs regulatory compliance, I have a patent and I can meet all the requirements in the lowest cost possible by the power of design. So I'm looking for mentor, coach, co-founders to take this global. This is like the, how to say, you can do a AI agent on production space. You can do design, build, finance, and operate the factory, or share production space or kitchen space. So the application is huge. So
Sounds
it will
great.
be the, I like to say, the future business model. So if you look for, you want to be a possible bigger unicorn, this is the possible.
So really looking forward to you answering some of the questions we will have later from your perspective. It will be really great. All right. They have their own microphone.
Hi, my name is Lynn. First time here also.
Hi Lynn, nice to meet you.
After the faith-driven conference, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm from Barker Road Methodist Church. Accepted Christ in City Harvest. My vocations, I have 3 vocations. I'm a VC of a US fund called VU Fund. Small fund. I also am an educator, so I lecture at NP and Singapore Poly, and next week I'll be at World Skills, which is where we torture all our youths. So this will be at Marina Bay Sands. So if you want to see youth being tortured live, like zoo, it's a zoo.
Yeah, do you put it like in YouTube as well or no?
I think they might put some. I think there's a World Skills Singapore on YouTube. I think they have an Instagram.
It's a reality
account.
show. Okay, alright.
Yeah, but next week you see them actually tortured at Marina Bay Sands, so it's quite fun to see them all in action. But anyway, so I'm a VC engineering educator, and I'm also engineering consultant. Yeah,
Alright,
so
that's very
more
interesting.
for smart cities. Yeah.
VCs with technical knowledge are very good ones usually because they really know what they invest in.
Yeah, but it's difficult, right? Because I'm both startup and also investor. So
Okay.
I do invest in Singapore companies in the engineering domain.
Yeah,
I'm
from
trying
maybe
to look
later you
for
can tell
more
us from the
opportunities.
perspective of your portfolio companies as well, not just or you can wear 2 hats at the same time.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so I'm both
Yep.
both VC and angel. Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. Your fun fact as usually, or you want to
Yes,
tell another
usually,
one?
yes.
Okay, come. This is the core of the group. As the person
in fact,
comes
I'm quite
first.
happy to see how big the committee has been grown. I've been here.
Now I came and he said, Alex, this is not our people there gathered inside. It's probably confusion is in something in the booking. That's all our people gathered inside. And
yes.
that's the thing, they self-organize, which is the most amazing part of it.
Yeah,
right?
amazing. So I only missed 2 sessions, and then wow, so many unfamiliar faces. I'm so happy. Well, I'm Aaron. So I'm a staff founder. We run buying recommendation agents for consumer, right? So fun fact. Well, the fun fact is I came here
Tell everyone.
since day 1. So I think last year June, if I'm not wrong.
August.
August, yes. So
But it feels like it's more than a year already. I understand.
yeah, it's so. But at that time, I didn't know it's faith-driven events. I thought it's just a normal business events, and I was not a Christian at that time. I was completely just not a Christian at that time. But then, well, a few sessions, around 2 to 3 sections, well, I found the values in God. So I became a big believer around last year. Yeah, so since then I attended church like every week and pray to God every day.
I remember he was standing and saying that, actually guys, I didn't know it's a Christian thing, but I feel so good here, so can I stay? And we were like, of course. All right.
I'm always welcome at that time, so I'm very pleased.
So now your job is to bring more, okay?
Yeah, I
I
should
know
bring
this.
more,
Okay,
bring
all right.
more. Yeah, so that's me. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Kenny, and I founded this startup. It's a medtech company. It's called The Rescue Tribe. And our first product is basically we automate how schedules are made within any ecosystem, but primarily focuses on healthcare and how schedules are made there. Fun fact is I just became a dad. So
Congrats.
yeah, baby girl. She's a week old, and just
You still made it, wow.
Just made it, yeah, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Robin. I'm in financial advisory. So I'm here because I'm in this Web3 sync group chat, and then I think Alex sent me a text. So I've been looking for people to mentor me or to walk with, the whole purpose of faith-driven entrepreneurs, right? Fun fact about myself is that I've I've gone through really in my life the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So in these three things, I've shared my stories on Salt and Light. Some of you may or may not have read. So I've gone through depression twice. I've been suicidal and all. So that's my little fun fact. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Clarissa. I'm a mom of two, one boy and one girl. Thank you.
So which one is more fun, the boy or the girl?
Hi, Aiden over here. My boss there.
She didn't list you in the list just now.
I have to do the talking because she's the boss.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a company called Mokus, so we upcycle plastic bags to make fashion accessories here. Yeah, so we've come by. This is 8 of 8. You know, I haven't attended maybe only 4. Yeah, so fun fact, my wife is also my co-founder.
I didn't know that actually. I didn't. Okay, that's very cool. So through this, you have actually started a new business, right? That's what you.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So it was on the session 3 or session 4. You pivoted from what you did before, if I'm not
correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Calvin and I run an education business called Young Leaders Collective. So we do 3 things mainly. First, it's local learning journeys in Singapore. Secondly, it's overseas immersion programs. And lastly, we also have a public speaking school. So I guess fun fact about me is I'm still a student in NUS and I come to Block 71 very often. So I chanced upon this this particular event on Eventbrite as well. There's like no way there's a faith-based event in Block 71 because I've never seen it before, right? So I just signed up for it and I thought it was a scam at first. Then I came here and I said, wow, there are actually people here. So very excited to meet all of you. And yeah, that's
So you're doing it every time when you see things as a scam, then you go there usually, right? Actually, we are very grateful that Block 71 accepting this.
Yeah.
Yes, and yesterday I brought, I think we brought 30 over people from Praxis to here as well. Yeah, and Praxis is a very, very famous American Christian accelerator and philanthropy center and non-profit organizations. They all came to Singapore, and they actually all were here. You can see pictures in my LinkedIn. And Block 71 is very, very welcome. And that's probably the most open-minded accelerator, but it's a government one, the university, but it's probably the most open-minded one. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Tell us.
Okay, hello everyone, I'm Xue Ting. I'm a digital marketer currently looking for opportunity. A fun fact about me is that I'm currently doing data analyst course with Boston Consulting Group, and then I'm really passionate about WhatsApp marketing and all things WhatsApp community and so on. I actually came here by I know Alec when I was with Mothercare. And he invited me here the first time, and I was very impressed with the sharing. I was also very impressed by the content that is being shown to us about like how actually you can make faith. I mean, God can help you to make a business decision as well, and not only in our personal life. So I gained a lot of. I really love the fellowship that comes after. So I hope you all will gain the same experience as well and enjoy the session today. Yeah.
And you got 90 out of 100 score in your Python course just now, right? I read it somewhere in the internet. Yeah. The only marketers that can code Python, okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Daniel. This is my first time attending this course. Introduced from by Theodore. So yeah, I'm actually new to this journey of entrepreneurship, and I'm actually building a cancer app specifically similar to how providing hope through like a sort of like kind of model of sharing people's testimonies. But we also have, my mom's a doctor, and so she's actually kind of putting her brain into the app to kind of educate anyone who has cancer on what to do, some of the things to look out for, as well as to provide the encouragement. So yeah, we'd love to talk to anyone, any advice around on this, entrepreneur journey on what to look out for. So very nice to meet all of you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, fun fact is I am ambidextrous as well. So I write with my left hand, but I play golf with my right. So
Can you?
So yes.
So which one you use to hold the microphone?
Right.
Both.
So clearly leaning more to the right. But yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hi, I'm Theodore, but you can call me Theo. I am building a financial literacy platform that's targeted at emerging markets. It serves as a lead origination for fintech. Fun fact, what brought me here was we both met Kelly at some university mixer, and she told us about this, but she's not here today. And fun fact, I'm also an artist, so I illustrate all my comics myself. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay, great. Hello.
Hi. Hi guys, I'm Gwen. I do growth marketing. So I had a growth marketing agency previously, and I'm currently planning to restart it soon.
Wow, last time you didn't plan to, just 1 month ago.
I was in
Good job.
Yeah, I'm planning to restart it now. My energy is back.
And I can sense it. Your energy is great. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So, fun fact, I work in a lot of things. I've done work in quite a lot of things. I've done art for music video. I've done acting. I've done like promoting, done graphic design, done whatever. So there's quite a number of things that I used to do. That's probably a fun fact. I'm just super restless as a person. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Preeti. I accidentally responded on the group. I meant to respond personally to you. So, but yeah, this is my second time here. So great to see guys here this time. I thought this is like all fitness.
So okay, fun fact about the previous sessions: there were 13 girls. That's it.
So okay. So
And it was amazing. And it's not I'm saying that the mix is worse or better, but it was a very unique session, I have to say, out of the 7 that we had. Yes.
So that was great. I was really excited to see that there's an event like this happening in Singapore, and for the first time, I've worked with banks all my life, and moved on to fintechs about 15 years ago. So basically been in sales and business development all my life, and currently for almost the last 1 year, I started a digital marketing agency to cater for B2B marketing needs to fintechs and to other providers as well. So yeah, it's the first time where I'm getting to mingle with entrepreneurs who are also in love with Jesus at the same time, and I'm really looking forward to walking closely with them.
So you will say, and also males at the same time. Since it's your second time. All right. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Noelle, and I worked for a TCM spa company as sales and marketing manager. I'm here today because I
So marketing corners are.
Yeah, marketing corner. We were here. This is the
It's time to volunteer, guys, for this, okay?
This is the last session group.
Okay.
I was here because I really enjoyed the last session with Preeti and everyone else, and I hope to enjoy this session as much. Fun fact about myself is I have just started a piece on new business, e-commerce. Thank you. Yeah, so it's very, very new, but I'm looking forward to more success. Thank you.
Okay. I know there's a pillar there, so I'll move a bit. Hi everyone, my name is Johanna.
So you cannot just introduce. You have to do like TikTok style introduction. Okay?
No, that's not fair for me.
Yeah, where did you work last time? Huh?
Okay, so Alex here knows I was previously in TikTok, but currently I'm a financial advisor.
Like 20 seconds, right? Video have 15 seconds. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so bread and butter is in anything financial. So I'm a financial advisor, but I'm also a business owner, an investor, and a non-profit youth leader under the World Economic Forum. Yeah, so what brought me here, I mean, we've met a couple of times. I'm also volunteering now for Digital Mission Ventures, where we're running some.
Digital Mission Ventures is a VC fund and a Christian accelerator in Singapore, run by Alan Chin, if you know him, and also Chris Yeo, ex-drug person.
Yeah, so we're working on investments and doing investments for faith-driven entrepreneurs,
cool.
And also helping out. We're probably running a mission trip. We'll see. And I'm also, fun fact is that I'm launching financial literacy programs with the government as of next month. So yeah, super excited.
So hi, I'm Victor. I recently just moved to Singapore from the Philippines. I moved here about 2 months ago. I previously also ran a Y Combinator startup called Avion School. It was an online school where we taught people to become software engineers. That we did outsourcing all over the world. And as another side business, I ran a popular newsletter here. So I did that for a bit. But fun fact would be, I moved to Singapore for love, and I found myself here, and now I'm, trying to grow my network in a country that I'm not so familiar with. But yeah, I know Alex from the Digital Mission Ventures as well, and yeah, I'm really grateful for being here.
So what is interesting about Y Combinator, which I discovered recently, is that the CEO, he's actually a Christian as well. He is Singaporean as well, and he is gathering Silicon Valley Christian entrepreneur communities and dinners and lunches back in the US every month or something like this, which is amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, I was part of that group.
But you did? You knew that? Yeah, so you were actually part of that?
I was part of that group, but
okay.
It's super active.
Yeah, so yeah, it should be a KPI for us, okay, right? So since you were there, you tell us how it should be, and we should replicate. Okay, all right, so my name is Alex. I'm running this FDE Singapore, and recently I'm also APAC ambassador for them, meaning that I'm trying to make more groups, make churches in. And my business is in marketing, but it's a software, right? So it's software that helps marketers to build marketing strategy automatically by analyzing the competitor ads, a lot of data about the audiences. Somebody's opening some sweet, just the microphone is there. Yeah, so this is what I'm doing. We very much into advertising business and marketing communication business, and everything related to marketing strategy. We basically build the AI platform to generate the marketing by AI. Originally, I'm an US graduate from computer science department with my PhD. That's how I ended up being in Singapore. A lot of fun facts. One is my wife is Taiwanese. I have 3 mixed kids here in Singapore, live here 12 years. And I play accordion. So if you go to Esplanade, it's very likely you'll see me playing accordion there on the stage, which is probably the only accordionist in Singapore. So it's not too difficult to be, the first, because you're the only one, probably. Anyway, so thanks for all the introductions. We do it every time so that we remember each other, right? And we really know what everyone is doing. We can help each other. Every time we watch the video here, it's about 20 minutes, and in the end of this video, we will be discussing the video content, and I'll close a couple of the questions from the book that is accompanying this course. You can download the book from the second QR code that I was giving to you earlier. So today is session number 8. Session number 8 is a special one because it's the last session of something they call foundation course, right? And after that, we will go to number 1 again, but we will be picking up different videos maybe because there's a lot of content out there, right? So let's watch the video together and then after that discuss it. So it's called Global Movement today.
Welcome back to the Faith Driven Entrepreneur video series. We're so glad that you've joined us over these past 7 sessions, and this is our last session. And in this session, we're going to talk about what our faith means as we minister in not just deed, but also in word. And what might it even look like to be able to minister with our faith through the giftings we have in our businesses, even overseas, as we share the good news about why we do what we do. So check out this video and the teaching that JD has, and I'll join you at the end. Thanks for being with us.
One day, I walked into a small village in Mexico, and I looked around, and there were no men in the community. There were approximately 350 people made up entirely of women and children. I didn't have to ask why, I knew why. They needed to be able to go to the United States and send the money back to the communities in Mexico for those people to exist. And you walked around and you saw all these children who didn't have a father, and you watched all these women who had holes in their roof and didn't have clean water. And here I am digging a well. And what hit me was, what are you doing? They need to be able to come back here with a job that is going to sustain this community in a powerful way. And so create a situation in which people can actually return to their towns, have full-time employment, and have a positive impact on the culture that was there. And that was the epiphany. So ultimately, what this company is really about is transforming the lives of agricultural workers. That's why we do what we do. Nature's Sweet Tomato started with a man named Ofer Niesman, who came to the United States and ate the produce here and said, it doesn't taste very good. And his idea was to build inexpensive greenhouses that could grow great tasting fruits and vegetables. And he had learned how to do that in Israel. So his idea was, let's build greenhouses and sell the greenhouse concept to growers, to fruit and vegetable companies, and they could grow much better fruit and vegetables. By the time that I had walked in there and I tasted the tomatoes that were inside the greenhouses, and I said, well, I don't know about this business idea of building greenhouses, but these are the best tomatoes I ever ate in my life. And I said, why not try to see if we can actually have year-round great tasting tomatoes utilizing the greenhouses, and then create a brand behind it that consumers could have confidence in.
So from a category perspective, we are the largest branded tomato company. Everything that's small is grown down in Mexico, in the Guadalajara area. And then all of our bigger, medium to large size tomatoes are in Arizona.
Nature's Sweet tomatoes are different from every other tomato in the world because we go around the world and look for the best varieties. We research our tomatoes, we have taste panels, and so we put the work into figuring out what the best varieties are.
That plant goes through a rigorous system of how it can produce the best fruit. And that's through the irrigation techniques that we have, and it's through the pruning that we do and the de-leafing process where we discipline that plant to be able to produce the sweetest amount of fruit.
And then from there, as the tomato grows, all our team within procurement and quality standards start taking over. And as the process is followed through our packing line and shipping, and so we pick, pack, and ship within 24 hours to ensure all our consumers get the freshest and best tomatoes out there.
In the end, you get a better product because there's work put in on every level, and every part of the process is thought about, and really there's a care taken from step A to step Z.
There were three major events that occurred that shifted me all the way to, well, I only have one option. And the first one was Isaiah 58, where God says, hey, thanks for giving me a Sabbath day, and thanks for the prayers, and thanks even for the fasting. But I can tell you keep asking me why none of this is working and why I don't show up in this. And I'm going to tell you why, because it's the way that you treat your workers. I'm asking you to untie the bonds that you have on your workers. I'm asking you to consider helping those who are poor. I'm asking you to consider how do you create freedom in the lives of other people. And if you do those things, he literally says, you're going to cry out to me and I have your back. At the same time that was happening, I had a mentor come to me and say, have you ever considered committing your life to something that you wouldn't see in your lifetime? Once you commit yourself to something you won't see in your lifetime, you stop worrying about the outcomes of your activities. And that what you actually begin to consider is, What kind of a man am I becoming in the midst of the circumstances that surround me? In the midst of those two things, my board came to me and said, we have a wonderful idea. We think we ought to triple the size of the company in the next 5 years. Well, all of a sudden, this verse and this challenge became something that was, wait a minute. I knew that the way that we were doing it, we were never going to achieve 3 times the size of the company. So something had to change. The most critical part of this whole journey is the shift in how I approached it. And if I just thought about it from a standpoint that I think about every other productivity measure in every other work environment, which was, how do I find the resources, specifically human? And I go to them and I say, listen, if you can increase the productivity of our farming area by 300%, then I'm gonna pay you something that you would be able to own your own home for. And all of a sudden it shifted it from being, hey, how do I go into your communities and help you out, to, hey, how can you come in here and help us out, and then you get to participate in the success of the facility.
So NatureSuite is a company that is out to transform the lives of agricultural workers in North America. So the work that you put in is really the effects and the benefits that you're going to get out of it. So not only professionally, but from a family perspective, from a lot of the commitments that we have inside and outside of the company, NatureSuite really gives the associates the opportunity to try new things.
De que siempre la empresa se preocupa mucho por los asociados, por nuestra gente.
NatureSuite para mí, digo, es una motivación, ¿sí? La siento día a día y me gusta mucho lo que hago, ¿no? El trabajar con plantas y el trabajar con gente. Creo que es uno de mis liberadores.
Conforme han pasado los años, me ha dado una buena estabilidad, me siento segura y trabajo muy a gusto todos los días. Una de las metas que la verdad yo veía muy difícil alcanzar en mi vida era tener una casa propia. Y aquí lo he logrado.
Every single decision that I make, I'm able to see those decisions reflected in transforming my co-workers' lives. Not only my co-workers, but even my life, my family lives.
It's very important for us that our associates feel proud to work with us, and that they feel confident to put their uniform and say, I work in NatureSuite and I'm happy to work there.
There is a fundamental belief in this company in the concept of abundance, that two people can actually both get what they really, really want and still work in concert or work together on the same objective. But it's having the honest conversation with each and every associate. So ultimately, what this company is really about is transforming the lives of agricultural workers. That's why we do what we do. Now, we do it in the form of a really sweet little tomato, but the question becomes, how do we unleash the power of agricultural workers around the world? And that is the constant purpose of what we do. And here's what we've seen, is that over the 9 years that we've implemented Unleashing the Power of People, that the company has actually achieved over 300% productivity. So what happened was, just from a business standpoint, the level of turnover and absenteeism completely dropped. And that was a huge cost to the company. We had significant issues with turnover and absenteeism. What we also watched was the care of the crop itself. We didn't have product that was being wasted inside the greenhouse because associates viewed the company as theirs, that they were part of it. They weren't just there to get through the row, they were there to actually contribute because they had a stake in the game, a very realistic stake in the game. So I can absolutely make a very strong argument that the business results themselves demonstrate that unleashing the power of people works.
In the last session, we ended talking about the satisfaction of living a meaningful life.
In this last session, we're going to turn the corner. We're going to head for the finish line, and we're going to talk about how God intends for your life and your talents to be a part of the greatest cause on earth and the greatest mission that any human being, man or woman, has ever engaged in. If you're a follower of Jesus, you have to ask, how can my faith-driven entrepreneurial exploits, how can they serve the Great Commission? One of the biggest myths in the Christian church, and I hope you've heard that reiterated numerous times throughout our time together, one of the biggest myths is that calling to use your life in God's Great Commission is some kind of sacred mystical experience that is reserved only for a select few in the body of Christ. But see, here's the truth. That calling to leverage your life for the Great Commission and for the mission of God, that was included in the call to follow Jesus. And when Jesus called people to himself in Matthew 4:19, he said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men," which means when you accepted Jesus, you accepted the call to mission. Here's the deal. Historically, ordinary believers have always been the tip of the gospel spear. If you go back and you study it, the gospel has always traveled around the world faster on the wings of business than it has even through apostolic effort. That was certainly true in the book of Acts. A very famous Christian historian, mission historian named Stephen Neal, wrote a book called The History of Christian Missions. And he says the only thing that is more remarkable than the rapidity of the spread of the gospel in the first century was its anonymity. He said, by the end of the first century, you had three great church planting centers. He said, what all three have in common is that we don't know who founded any of the churches in Antioch, Alexandria, or Rome. Acts 11 tells you the story of the founding of the church in Antioch, and all it says is that some brothers who were filled with the Spirit came there and planted the church in Antioch. Some brothers is Luke, who wrote the book of Acts. It's his way of saying a bunch of guys who are not significant enough for me to even tell you their names. They're like the credits at the end of the movie, bystander number 3. You're never going to hear about these guys again. They're just some ordinary guys. If these guys, these men and women, they planted a church that would ultimately one day send out the Apostle Paul and more missionaries in the first century than any other church. Well, see, friend, the same thing is true today. I read this recently. I thought this was pretty astounding. If you add up all the evangelical missionaries in what we call the 1040 window, which is between the 10th and the 40th parallel, where most of the unreached peoples live, people who have little to no access to the gospel. If you add up all the evangelical missionaries from every denomination, that number is about 40,000. And praise God for them. We need 10 times that many. But if you take the number of Americans, just United States citizens, who are working in so-called secular employment, business ventures, ordinary business in the 1040 window, that number is 2 million. All right, well, if demographic trends are the same, which I assume they are, that means, 36% of them identify as born again? Even if we write off 2/3 of that number as not serious about their faith and only took 1/3 of that number, right, that would mean that of the 2 million that are there, 200,000 are serious followers of Jesus who put their faith in a significant place in their life. What if they understood that God had given them this open door of business in the 1040 window as a place where they could, in addition to doing their business with excellence, they could also be disciple-making disciples. You would increase the mission force in the least reached part of the world from 40,000 to 240,000 without spending another dime. We hear a lot of talk today about a lack of funds in getting missionaries to some of these places, but I'm telling you, they're already there. They're called business people. I saw this happen with my own father. He was a plant manager of a textile factory for many years and was really good at what he did. And so the day that he retired, his company, multinational company, rehired him to go and set up a plant, a textile plant over in the 1040 window. And there, he was over there for about 18 months, and he and my mom, they worked side by side with some Asian business people that they were able to bring to faith in Christ and help get a church started. Total cost to mission boards in the church, $0. In fact, we made money on the deal because he kept tithing the whole time he was over there. The point is, God has given some of you a key, and that key can literally unlock the nations. Proverbs 22, wise King Solomon said, do you see somebody skilled in their work? I tell you, they will serve before kings. So here's my question. Like I said, we hear a lot today about the need for more missionaries, the need for more funding, and that's true. But what if God was behind this lack of funding as his way to remobilize and re-engage a group of Christians in the workplace that have always been the tip of the gospel spear? That's always been his strategy. What if he was returning us to the book of Acts when a bunch of merchants and carpenters and fishermen and entrepreneurs without seminary degrees or formal religious training turned the world upside down? One of the greatest illustrations of this in Christian history, I think, comes from the time of the Reformation. There was a man by the name of William Tyndale. He was a priest, a seminary-trained guy, and he began to read the Bible in the original languages and discovered that the church of his day was not really teaching the gospel. And so he translated it into common English. He was one of the first guys to put the Bible in the vernacular of the English language. And so the established church was very angry at this because it made them lose control. And so, man, they took William Tyndale captive, and eventually he would be burned at the stake. His last words were, "Lord, open the King of England's eyes. The day will come, I pray, when the average schoolboy in England will know more about the Bible than the common priest does today." A lot of people, if they know Christian history, they've heard of William Tyndale. In fact, a major publishing company is named after him now. What they don't know is that you would never have heard of William Tyndale if it weren't for a guy named Humphrey Monmouth. Humphrey Monmouth, kind of a strange name, but Humphrey Monmouth was somebody that William Tyndale led to Christ. And Humphrey Monmouth owned this large network of ships that he used to take different kind of goods all throughout the English Empire. And what he did when Tyndale translated the Bible is he smuggled this Bible into all the parts of the English-speaking world. Because of the money he made from his shipping industry, he was able to fund Tyndale and the little seminary that Tyndale began to run to train other pastors. It was because of Monmouth's generosity and because of his using his business skill to serve William Tyndale in this that when the King of England decided he was going to kill William Tyndale and recollect all the Bibles, he could never get to them because Monmouth had spread them too far around the world. You would never have heard of Tyndale had it not been for a kingdom-minded business professional who understood that he also had a role in the Great Commission. What I'm telling you is that God has a role for Tyndales, William Tyndales, and God uses Humphrey Monmouths. I would imagine some of you will find yourself in that Monmouth category, and you're going to be somebody that God uses in an amazing way to take the gospel to places that it's yet to go. Consider this one last thing as we close. We said this in the first session. 39 of the 40 miracles in the book of Acts happen outside of the church. That means you are in the place that God most wants to work. As a guy who works in the church, I don't get that privilege. You get to be in the place where God wants to do the majority of his miracles. And also, let me just say, that's all the more reason if you're a business owner that you should consider sponsoring something like corporate chaplaincy, because that enables somebody with gospel intentionality to meet your people in the place they spend most of their time and they experience most of their stress, and that is the workplace. That's what this whole series and all this material that my friend Henry Kashner and I have put together, it's what it's all about. It's about equipping you to put your yes on the table to God so that God can use you in the place that he has equipped you for. The skills, the ambitions, the dreams you have, friend, they're not accidental. It's all part of his plan. You are specially designed by him with a purpose in his kingdom. Our prayer has been and is that you will step up and use those things according to the purposes for which God gave them to you.
I knew that when I asked JD to join us in this video series, of course, he was going to talk a lot about mission. I'm really glad he brought it. He talked about it in personal experience with his dad and with himself. And I think it's really important for us as faith-driven entrepreneurs to understand what that means as well. What does that mean for us to be able to be a beacon of hope for others more broadly, maybe in our city, and maybe even overseas? Is there an opportunity for you to minister to mentor, to help maybe an overseas entrepreneur that's just getting started? It's been great to have you with us these last 8 sessions. I've enjoyed it very much. It's been a great honor for me to work with JD and the folks at Right Now Media that I'm just really excited to work with. Our hope is that during this session that you've been able to lean into more about your calling, about what does it look like to be a faith-driven entrepreneur, the why of a faith-driven entrepreneur, and the where and the how, and that you'll come back to us and let us know the things that really resonate with you, but also the things that you think we need to pick up on the next time we do something like this. Having you tune into this and having you interact with us on our website and the comments that we get from our podcast are an incredible encouragement to us. So please keep them coming. Tell us how we can be better. The last encouragement I want to leave you with is that you will seek out God for all of your important business decisions. And you'll do that in community that can hold you accountable to make sure that indeed you are searching him out and his plan for your life and for your business. Thank you very much for having been with us. It's been a great honor for me to be with you. Thank you, and may God bless you and your business.
they were mentioning. For me, I was listening it again, and there are certain things I can relate to. So, for example, entrepreneurs, they are a little bit weird type of people. They have usually a lot of skills. They do it from the passion, from their faith, and those skills quite often disproportional to the salary and to many other things. You all know this, right? But how did I even get to organize this? After meeting Henry, what I start doing, I will start using the skills in my normal work, like when I'm running the company, for what we do for BDR, outreach to people. I start sourcing the places where I can get, potentially interested people to come, like WhatsApp groups and other places. And then, as a computer scientist, I automated it. Yes, I mean, some of the messages are automated, some are not. But this is exactly what I did. And that's why so many of us are coming. Usually the group is just 5 people that know each other very well. In Singapore, I believe it's first in the world when we get 20, 30 people coming. And over this 8 months, we got over 100 people coming. Very, very different. But they're coming again and again, and we get the core, right? Why so? Because I use exactly the same technique that I'm using to maybe source clients in my company that I run. And then, when did I start this in Singapore? It's probably the darkest times of my business. I mean, if you know me before, you know that I raised a couple of $1 million from VCs for my company. We hired a lot of staff, very smart scientists, professors, whatever, last time. But then there were a couple of tribulations like COVID and, war in Ukraine. I'm Russian originally, right? So I had a lot of problems with this, right? Because we lost a lot of business in Ukraine around there. And this all hit us, and we don't have funding anymore. And that is actually the time when I seek God, I pray. I went to DMV Accelerator first. Now I'm mentoring there, but I went to Accelerator as Accelerate first. And then I got this concept, and then we spin off Phase Driven in Singapore. Would I do that if I have a lot of funding? I don't know, maybe not. Because I was just so busy in growing the business, I might not do it. So I agree that God very often send us some challenges to grow. And if you look at this challenge as an opportunity to grow, as for the next step, then it's actually very enjoying to get a new challenge, and you won't be frustrated, and you will have peace because you have faith. So, very happy to hear from you. We got a couple of things we want to understand, right? So, for example, the first one, that the Great Commission is found in Matthew 28, 19, 20, where Jesus commands the disciple to go and make other disciples of all nations. So JD was saying, okay, as a follower of Jesus, how can my faith-driven entrepreneurial exploit serve the Great Commission? So how do you answer this question? What are some ways you've been able to fulfill the Great Commission for you personally, through your business or whatever other endeavors you have? We have 2 microphones somewhere in the hall. Somebody needs to be the first. Yes, looks like it's you. Let us know. Just to share, whatever you think is fine.
Okay, I don't have context onto the book of Acts right now, but I will just share whatever that I have on my mind. After I started my marketing business, I had a major burnout. After I had my burnout, I actually got asked to go back to do another startup, which I went back to do. And I started a blockchain startup with 2 other partners in the industry. And actually, that was where my faith started strengthening. So during my pursuit within the Web3 industry, the crypto industry, I see a lot of people who are really wretched, which is really, really crappy people. But I also find people that are...
Web3 people are very happy people usually.
I have a lot of comments on that, but I'll just leave that aside for now. But basically, there are some people that I get along better with that I realize eventually that they were all Christians. And that actually anchored my decision to become more faithful and take on my journey to become Christian. So through them, I would say I could see how the ways of working just by existing and just running their business could help evangelize a new Christian into the community.
And I think I keep repeating this, we are not just, every entrepreneur is 5, 10, 20, 100, hundreds of people that look at us every day, how we make decisions, right? So one person coming to this community would actually influence maybe 100 people and families of these 100 people, and maybe the lifetime decisions for them to actually be frustrated about who Christians are and how they behave, or opposite, just like in the cases that you have shared, right? So, and I think this is crucial. We are affecting lots of people around us, and lots of people looking at us. So yes, we can ask as entrepreneurs, we can encourage ourselves to grow, but it's also about our employees, and it's also fulfilled in our employees' case as well. So I always say, oh, thanks God for this and that, and I'm really looking for opportunities to explain my employees when some miracle happens, like just some sudden sales come out from here or from there, or nothing expected, or we did something very anti-business by, let's say, not following the contract but still passing money back when we see that they need it for something else, right? Something completely against the logic of general business. And then you see people trust you and they come with fivefold after a few more months, and they say, hey, I really trust what you do because you did this, right? So that's an opportunity for us to actually share. Yes, you wanted to share.
Oh no, yeah, no, I really agree with what Gwen and what Alex shared. I think like even with some of the I wear a couple of hats, and so I think like it's really being about a person of integrity, right? It's really being able to live and act out your faith, and knowing that you're a leader of one, at the very least, you're the leader of yourself, right? And it's in the way that you really spend time with God, deny yourself and have more of God, and the way that your thoughts, the way that you speak, the way that you take action, like it reflects God. And I've really seen this in my own life, with whether that's me leading youths in community service, whether that's me running that business, whether that's me in my financial advisory, right? Like people can see that you're called to be set apart, you're called to lead and influence, you're called to be a city on a hill, right? And so I think it's something really crucial for us to realize that when we let God do that work through us, in us, then through us, right? Then the people around us see that, and we want to be intentional that with every conversation, with every interaction we have, we leave the other person with more faith, with more hope, with more love, with more joy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's exactly, and you have seen it across few businesses as well. Wherever you're working is actually the same pattern. Anyone? Yeah. Okay. All right. You're gonna be next.
You can go first.
Okay. Well, actually, this topic quite resonate me because let me share a story first. I'm originally from China, so now once I have a conversation with my Chinese friend who are also running a business, and I told him that, hey, I'm actually hiring some interns from China right now. Then I pay them like 3,000 yuan per month. Then he was like, well, you know what's happening in China? In fact, you don't need to pay them. Actually, you can call up a program like a mentorship program to ask the intern to work free for you. And instead you can, if your company is big enough, you can even ask them to pay you. Ask the students to pay you to participate in this mentorship program. And not just a free labor, is you get this labor and you can get money from it. Which the reason why I want to share with all of you guys is there are a lot of ways to run business. The way that my friend is doing, if in a logical sense, it really makes sense because it lowers down the cost a lot. But when we come across to many business decisions, we try to think about the way is how are we going to honor God? What kind of business decision that is what God wants? Which I believe the things that my friend is doing is definitely not what God wants. And it's also not tally with the one of the values that share in FDE. I believe it's something like treat your associate, treat everyone like your family, something like that. Right. So I believe that how I'm going to honor God is how I'm going to serve the Great Commission is wherever when you came across whatever business decision that you should think what kind of values that you are creating to not just your associate and also your customer and everything. The values is the most important part, and the values should honor God and imitate what God should do. That's the things that I learned throughout the past few months. Yeah.
Just in the previous session, we were talking about loving your employees, loving your clients. Actually, I once told my co-founder, I said, we must love our clients. I said, Alex, you're going to be too much already. But we must love them. We actually should treat them the same way as we would treat our family or our neighbor, exactly, right? So as ourselves ultimately. That's what you're talking about. Would you be happy to work for free for someone, and especially knowing that somebody else is getting paid for the same job, right? Like, how would you feel yourself if you get in that situation, right? And yeah, that's where decision should come from. You wanted to mention something as well.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
I will just share 2 points on this. Thanks for inviting me. It's my first time here. I've hosted FD online 3 times, so I'm just excited to find the community here. Yeah, so I'll just read from my script. Basically, I think the 2 points is the first one is about evangelism. I think the Lord puts people in my heart to pray for and to reach out, and I'm happy to say my evangelism is 100%. Like everyone I ask to come to church, they come to church because I don't do cold calling. Like before I ask you to come to church, I don't just ask you. I always pray: is this the right time? Is this the right person? No matter how random, it could look like hostile and all this, but I just do according to the Spirit, and the person usually comes. And the second point is redemption. So I'm a lawyer, so sometimes I do notice like there are older lawyers who have made past mistakes in the past, and there are people who jump on the bandwagon to throw negativity on them. Like they'll just remember like many good things, right? They just remember one bad thing, and every time the person's name is mentioned, they will always just mention a bad thing, and they don't care about the good things or the real achievement, objective achievement done. And the Lord always, sometimes I pray about that, say, Lord, I just feel it's a bit toxic. And then the Lord saying, you've got to redeem the person. So sometimes when I meet a person, I speak to the person as though he is an objectively, he has really, like, I acknowledge his objective success. I speak to him like a person, I give him grace and kindness, and so I treat him like a normal person. I just, I don't see it okay as a junior person to criticize someone senior, and that's how I bring the gospel. And I do remember when I do it, the Lord's just saying you got to redeem this person because you cannot just agree with the bandwagon, you cannot just agree. And I know they're speaking of envy. That's the truth. And so the Lord say just do something with the person. So sometimes I do random things like giving a card or giving a gift or something. Say thanks for the advice, that kind of thing. So I'll give three testimonies I have at work. So I'm quite Holy Spirit driven. Like I lean a lot on the Holy Spirit. I once advised a corporate client on legal matters. So I'm not supposed to touch the business matters. But I know like the next day there was an investor seed funding or Series A funding meeting. And so the Lord at 10 p.m. said, I know it's 12 p.m. on Saturday, and so 10 p.m. Friday night, the Lord said, hey, bro, you got to do a pitch deck for them. Because the client is Chinese, so their English is not very good, but they can still do it. So I just did it, and I just said that if I'm wrong, right, and most I say it's just a value add work and that sort of thing. So I just sent it out maybe like 8 a.m. the next morning. And then 2 p.m. I received a call from the client, and then the client said, how do you know I needed it? Because what really happened was the client actually, someone supposed to prepare it, was late, was not on time, so they used my deck instead of the guy who's supposed to prepare it. So I just used my gut feeling, like 10 p.m. the Lord said, you got to do this for them. I don't charge fees, I don't charge extra, I just do it. And I say like, if I'm wrong, I just say I just want to add value add. Just in case I'm wrong, right? I just send some random deck for no reason.
Did you tell them how you made that decision to make the deck?
No, it's just a gut feeling because
But did you tell the client?
I just say I pray to God. I depend if they're Christians, I'll say
because that is exactly the opportunities when we have to be very open, I think, and share how we make decisions.
Yeah. So I did. They actually they know because I'm very open about my faith, even in my interactions. The second thing was during when I was in corporate, I had a very difficult issue. Basically, someone signed a sole discretion contractual clause, and I used my strength to solve it. I couldn't, and then the boss just said, just leave it. The boss was not happy with it, so the Lord said, go and pray. I prayed. I come up with a solution using property law to solve it, and then I just gave it to her and I said, it's God, because I apply a lot of church teachings. God is actually very real in my life, so I try to bring the realness to the workplace, that kind of thing. Like I've seen people healed before and all this, so I try to bring that realism to people that the Lord called me to bring it to. And the last one is basically, my church also teaches bring the atmosphere and worship and all this. So whenever I travel or when I commute to work, all this, I'm always having worship music, right? And then I can feel the tangible presence of God. And then sometimes when I walk in a place, one time someone asked me, my coworker April, what are you listening to? He's expecting some podcast, some kind of secret thing, and then I just showed him it's his Hillsong, and then he was stunned. So basically these are the three testimonies I have. But the point is that
you gotta promise me to listen as well if I tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 points is basically bring a heart of evangelism to work, and the second point is trying to redeem people. The world is quite negative, so sometimes certain things like the Lord will say, this guy needs some encouragement. He needs you to redeem him. I will treat the person normally. I wouldn't treat him how other people treat him.
Sometimes you just know you have to do something. There's no any logic behind it, but yeah.
The logic is that this person wants to be saved, this person wants to be seen, and the world is not giving a chance out of their.
Which you'll know later.
I know it because I pray about it all the time.
Okay. Yep.
I'm also not too familiar with the Book of Acts yet, but how we, at least in my previous company, how we were able to really share the mission here was we worked with low-income Filipino students, and a lot of these people lived a life that we didn't really understand as co-founders. They were people who dropped out of school not because they wanted to become the next Mark Zuckerberg, but they couldn't finish school primarily because they had financial struggles, someone was sick in their family, and it was always this really big hindrance from being able to complete proper education. And I guess the Philippines being a very Catholic or Christian country, it was really a very important mission to me to be able to apply what I know from church. And while, like you said, I should have been a lot more vocal about my faith, and only now am I realizing to do that more. We really did spend a lot of time trying to understand their stories and really listen to them one by one. And what we did is we taught them to become software engineers. And while that wasn't their background, we helped them land jobs, and we did that in a way that really was personal to us, but also personal to them, because we would go down as far as their emails one by one to help them write a better email that will help them land a job. And while it might have seemed like it was not the most profitable thing to do, it felt like the right thing to do. And I guess fast forward 5 years, that ended up becoming a business that wasn't the most sustainable, and we essentially ran out of money. And I guess one of the reasons of what brought me to being more active about my faith was I reached out to a friend of mine to catch up, and he's a friend of mine in Indonesia. And I opened up with a line. I told him, what do you have that I don't? You run the same business, but you seem to be a lot more successful than me. And he just spent a lot of time talking to me over this 2-hour-long walk that we had. And he told me that we have this program, and if you want to, you could join this program where we have this faith entrepreneur accelerator in Singapore. And I told him, that's really cool. I'll think about it. I'll let you know. Obviously, I would not have let him know because I had no more money. And at the end of our conversation, he said to me, I really think you should join the program. I told him, if I'll be honest with you, I don't have any more money. So I can't afford a trip to Singapore. And he said, no, don't worry about it. I'll sponsor the whole thing. And it's like, wow. And I guess it was only then that I realized that there are other people who not just acted out of love in their company, but acted based on their faith, right? And it was really in this type of community like this one that we have here that I saw people actually being proud to speak about their religion, proud to speak about God. And regardless if the person was from a different religion or they're a free thinker, it was something that they were proud of. And I guess since that time that I joined that program in November, I really made it a point that regardless of who I'm speaking to, I really try to bring up my faith, because while we didn't bring it up in the past 5 years in that company, it is what led us to do what we did. It wasn't really for profit. It was a business that we created just to help people. So I guess that's how I'm living and trying to fulfill the Great Commission, at least now in the next company.
I didn't know that story. It's very interesting. So that's a cohort that we were actually coaching you as well. So the second question is about what kind of places in the world God brings you to, like what business taking you in past and you completely didn't expect it, and how you've seen your business become a place where people can see the love of Jesus even without realizing it. So I'm talking about the place where God have brought me in, right? So just about a few months back in September, I have there's not mics here, so I was just writing to some people, inviting them for this program, and somebody responded me, hey, do you want to go to Korea for the conference for free? Pay for the ticket, pay for the hotel, and you just join the conference. I'm like, I don't know you, I'm just sending you, they're just inviting. Yeah, I know you don't know, but do you want to go because you are, Christian and entrepreneur and you're writing me messages in WhatsApp? And I really didn't want to go because it was so many things, and Korea was not the market I'm interested in. A lot of family things to do. I got 3 kids and I'm running there, and was doing just too much travel around the time. Really don't want, but I have a very very strong voice. No, you should go. You should go to Korea. Like, why Korea? Like, go Korea. Okay, sure. Then I bought a ticket, and I went to the airport, and apparently I need some kind of weird type of visa, which all people in history were able to apply and receive it on a counter in the airport. Very easy. I was pretty much the first person in Changi who applied and didn't receive. So I missed my flight. So I'm sitting in Changi and I feel like quite bad. I feel maybe I don't need to go Korea. And then at 3 a.m. my wife typed into me in WhatsApp, oh, by the way, I found in a UK student community a ticket on some weird airline that flies to China and then brings you to Seoul. And it's 40 minutes from, or like 1 hour from now. And it's from different terminal. I'm like, okay. So I took a taxi to different terminal, and it was the first time in the history of Changi when the person was buying a ticket online on the counter where they check in. Ladies was shocked, like, how come you? I said, I already bought it, but I don't see it in the system. Okay, so eventually I get a flight, I fly to China, from China to Seoul. I booked the car in Seoul, and I didn't receive that car because of some documents issues. And so I got like complete trouble after trouble for 2 consecutive days, and I really didn't want to go there, but I went there and I come to the conference. Guess how many Koreans there were in the conference in Korea? About 0 to 5 to 10, like it was a completely empty conference. But there were over 50 Christian Singaporeans in Korea who were actually fellowshipping there together. And one of them was the one I was outreaching actually to invite to the FDE. And then I ended up hanging out with them, and there was a lot of business coming out of there. And I got to, I'm in advertising, I got to know head of M&A for Denso, who was running all these things together. Now we work with her quite a bit. Maybe. It's just so many things come out from there. So my learning from there is that if you got a lot of troubles and something out of the blue, you pray and you don't reject those things. And if you are pushing for it and you're getting more and more and more troubles, it means you're doing the right thing. And this is what happened with me recently. And I realized that all my life in business is full of this kind of decisions. So, and this is what I share with, I find opportunities to share with all entrepreneurs. I talk about this career trip to all entrepreneurs I know to, because if you are you need to have a strategy and plan, but if you are very, very logical and pragmatic, which is many out there in the market, you might be one of those entrepreneurs that doing everything right, but things don't work. And in fact, you are not doing everything right if you don't make God your CEO of your business. And it's not gonna work unless there is some special plan for that. And very often our businesses are actually done for someone else, and we are just a stepping stone. And we really have to accept it. It could be just a stepping stone, and one of our junior employee or intern who become eventually, I don't know, Sam Altman. Right? And that is exactly our role, and all the millions of dollars in the sales that we are doing, that could be exactly our role. So we need to understand this is why we should be vocal about our faith. Because we never know who would be those people that we actually gather with. So what kind of places your business brought you to, and how that led to the Great Commission and the topic that we discussed today? It's gonna be somebody from the right side. The left side is way more active. Okay. Right side. Yeah.
Sorry. So actually, it's not that I have done any entrepreneur thing yet, a bit, but then I actually have felt like God is calling me to contribute to NGO in India. So basically, my friend, his brother invented a system whereby poor people in the slum can collect trash, and they can earn money through collecting trash. And then somehow some company wanted to buy his program, and then he refused because he said they will misuse the program. And then guess what? Like I think maybe a month later he was murdered. And then because he was murdered, my friend, his brother, decided to open an NGO to remember him. So I helped him to raise money for children camp in the slum to help the Indian people in the slum, the children, for a fresh meal, to give them food, to give them art lessons, and bring them to movie. So I raised funds from Singapore from everybody I know. It's the first time I raised a 4-figure sum in Singapore to help the children. And then what happened now is that he also sponsored sanitary napkin to women in the slum, because the women are using dirty socks as sanitary napkins, and that can actually cause death. So he actually used his own money. He is actually a scientist in Illumina. He used his savings and buy all the pad in container. He bought a whole container of pad, and he gave it to the women in the slum. And he was in the news and all, so I helped him to promote that. I even went to LinkedIn to find all the like Kotex, Whisper, marketing managers to try to get them to sponsor us, but nobody did. And then there's this brand Noir who tried to even like take advantage of us, saying that they can sell us the Noir pad, the brand Noir, cheaply to us, but then actually we needed it free. So this is only the first one. So now he's reaching out to me again to try to get resources to help him promote menstruation cup to women, so that we don't need to give pad,
but then we can give the menstruation cup and tell them to how to use the menstruation cup so that they don't need to spend a lot of money on pads. And then guess what? Like this morning, my friend, he's in Bangalore, so he's a famous gamer in India, and then he just messaged me like 1 a.m. last night asking me, are you there? Then when I woke up and then I say what happened, because it's very rare he messaged me late in the night. Then in the morning he just told me that when he was on his way home, somebody on the bike came, alighted from the bike and molested a 8-year-old girl in front of him. And he actually reached out to me and say, can you find a necklace that has a hidden camera, that has SIM card, and that can record everything at night so that the mother of daughters in India can actually film anybody who violated their daughter and bring them to crime, because actually 98% are being molested and they are not being brought to the justice. So I have no idea how to help the two of them. But then when I saw the fresh tomato thing, I really hope that maybe in the next month or so, after I finish my data course, I will have like maybe some people. I mean, if any of y'all can think of any business way on how I can contribute back to these two organizations, I'll be very happy, because I think they really need my help. And then I really see the tomato thing going on, and then I hope like maybe something that is sustainable can happen to these two organizations.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. You are taking courses now and you are not working anywhere yet at the moment, right? Because you take a break. Interviewing, yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's a God interviewing you. What you're taking is very important and it's pretty amazing, right? So, yeah. Thanks for sharing, and yes, everybody makes their minds to help with that. Right side. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm a doctor and I work in the emergency department. And 5 years ago, I mean, I've been to faith and work conferences and all of this, and mostly it's like they give you a mug that says God at work, and I felt like there was no synchrony between my head and my heart in terms of saying we're Christians and we're desperate to show people in our workplace that we are Christians, and we fail. Like it could be just like like sending them a verse or whatever, but I feel like there was this moment where I attended a workshop from Praxis, and it just blew my mind, and I had that moment of clarity of how God is calling each of us in the renewal of all things. And I think that revelation just blew my mind in terms of just knowing that each of us, we don't have to quit and become pastors, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we don't need to.
We don't need. God isn't asking us to go and enter seminary. He's actually calling us to be where we are and help, not help Him, but He's calling us to renew the world with Him, right? And that really, really like blew my mind at that point. And 5 years later, I mean, this kind of seed and this idea of like building product and business happened at the same time. So when I built this startup that I currently work with as well, we were using vendors in India, like using coding partners and all of them. And so for the first time, I recruited my first employee who's Indian, and he's a product designer. And he isn't in any way Christian, he's agnostic actually. And I just told him the vision of the company and how my focus is to really be able to build cutting-edge product that could service the developing world healthcare systems and the redemptive edge of that, right? And so even though he's not necessarily Christian and he's pretty much a free thinker, what was amazing is that he quit his previous job, which was paying him a lot. He was sick of the corporate culture and decided to join the startup only because of what I shared. And I think that was massive for me, just knowing that, hey, you don't have to hide your faith, put it in a curtain, package it well, make sure that everyone is, not tickled by what you're saying. But I think in that process, just having my first employee come in because of what I shared and the core direction that we were pursuing, I felt like just being honest to that call, found our first employee. So it was just very encouraging for me. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I think it's very well said. It takes us quite a bit of effort to make a decision to actually start talking to employees about our faith and how we make decisions. So, how about even more challenging one? How do you make disciples in the industry that you're working in? I give you an example. Shuting, she used to be working in my client's business, and then how did I tell you that we are running this? I think we had a couple of conversations about marketing, and then about Christianity, and then eventually you come.
It's just a casual open invitation.
So we're in the same industry.
Yeah.
We're not in the same company, right? So this is what we could learn and should learn to do. But did you do that in your industry? So, for example, are there any examples, or how do you see it, that you spread it beyond your company, so that you start getting others to start an FDE, or go back to church again, or start making decisions differently in the business that they run? Anybody have anything to share, or examples? How did you do this? How you envision this? Okay, I'm writing on Forbes quite a bit, so I wrote about redemptive marketing on Forbes, and it passes through, got really strong, and doing these things like giving us holes and passing Forbes articles about Christian things. So I wrote an article about redemptive marketing. How do you market the value, and through the value you are becoming a good business, rather than through the marketing tricks like fear of missing out, like last moment discount, just get it, otherwise you will lose it, like confusing people, misleading people. There's a book called Nudge, which is just about how would you leverage the misperceptions of people, the way people think, the way people, even the vision, even to benefit from it as a business. How about you not doing this, but you explain the value of the product, so you reach into the people who really, really need it, because they need it and benefit from it, and it's to become a greater good. That's how we try to do redemptive marketing. And it's my industry. How about your industry?
I have something to say.
Okay.
So,
Marketing corner.
So I generally am quite big on personal branding. Like a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, or even politicians, or even people on LinkedIn, personal branding is quite an important thing. Although I have not developed extensively how I want this to play out in everybody, but if you look at how a lot of because I work in content creation and marketing and other forms of area like acting as well, a lot of them actually use their own voice, just using voice and their content while using their Instagram page with their verses. It's a very simple and cheesy way to be putting their gospel out there, but just having that on your own channels or brand could help in terms of bringing disciples in. So actually it helps each other recognize each other, but also helps you to get people who follow you to know about your faith. So I got one very quick example.
Exactly.
I got one very quick example on this guy called Simon Boy. He basically was like a drug addict, and he had a very difficult past, and it was actually very, very hard, imagine in his situation, to step and be a thought leader in his space, right? But as a content creator, do everybody likes his content? Not really, but he is still example of his faith because of how much he has changed, and he really proudly puts his faith out there in terms of that. So through his content of even it is a bit more sexual team or things like that, it still shows how much he has changed and how much change it can happen to a person who walks continuously in the faith, not in perfection, but in faith. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you have something to share?
I'll just share some of the small things I do. But basically, yeah, I think you asked, I always give God the glory. And I don't know why, but I knew that the person asked me how I got those answers or revelation. And I always just say, I pray to God. I speak in tongues to be honest, but I don't say that because I don't want to create division. So I'll just say, I pray to God. But the truth is, I usually speak in tongues to get wisdom or insight or discernment. So basically, small things I do is like I write a newsletter to my close circle. It's very gospel filled. I can share. It's always about what are the seasons of the times, what are verses, how do you apply things. Like I talk about purpose is actually the fuel to performance, not status. And the reason why is that I'll give you an example. If I say you have to go for a 2 km run, and if you run this 2 km, maybe 20% of the funds raised will go to someone else that is virtually in need. You will actually run faster compared to I just say. This 2 km is just for you to be healthier, you'll be fitter than this normal person in the populace. Truth is that you have that fuel to actually run better if it serves another person, because human beings are actually meant to serve one another. Yeah, so that's how I write. I write newsletter and I equip my spiritual sons, like people I brought to the faith. I always share. I don't hide back everything. I give them everything. I don't hold back. And the truth is that I want them to be a better believer. I want them to be a better leader as I am. Because of the latter day glory principle. Jesus expected his disciples to do greater things. So I always want people that I bring to Christ to be better than me in the faith. So I just give them everything. And the last thing I want to share something is, I thought I've been doing a lot of weird things in my career, like unprofessional things. For example, I pray for clients, I bring olive oil to them and all this. And so I have some doubts, like, should I be praying for people? Like when I went to my ex-client's house, he said, I think and I cannot sleep, there's some dark things haunting me. So when I was at his house, I just prayed with him and went away. There was one time, one of my friend, the Lord said just give him olive oil no matter what. I knew his mom had cancer, so I just gave it to him. And then, I don't know why, but that day, just as to be that day, and I was rushing. I was like, why am I rushing to give him olive oil? He can buy on his own. And when I went to meet him, he just said, like, Ben, I'm flying off in 2 hours. It's urgent, So those are the things I do. And the Lord basically validated me by giving me... the Lord basically validated me by giving me another lawyer who did something similar or way more bold than me. His name is Lee Young. From Covenant Chambers. So I read his article in Salt and Light. Basically, he also prayed for clients. And sometimes he's also prophetic. He actually told the client that, listen, there's black magic in your divorce case. The client believed him. He went to the house, he prayed, he removed certain occult objects, and then the marriage was restored. So after I read that, I felt validated and normalized. Because I read the article when I was doubting all these small things I do for people, and the Lord sent the article to me to validate there's someone out there doing something bolder and it's actually part of your faith.
Previous session was about the restored marriage as well, right? Number 7. You were running the course, so you know, right? So that.
Which one? Marriage.
Yeah, number 7 was about the entrepreneur.
Oh yeah. There was a case. Yeah, but basically I'm saying like I felt like it's weird for me to the Lord sent another believer that's stronger than me doing bolder things, and I was inspired and I feel validated by that action. So the small things I do, I write a newsletter and I equip all my spiritual sons with whatever I have. Yeah.
And we have many questions, right? I've seen you taking pictures. You can take it home. We're also hungry, but we have one very important one in the end. So what is that one thing we can do in this coming week to actually start implementing this, right? So, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask anyone to say something, right? So what could it look like for you to take what you've learned from this series, particularly from the last section, to implement it this week? If you're not implementing it yet, what did you do and what you have implemented, right? So what are some first steps, initial decisions you could make and apply what you've learned? Starting from myself, what I learned is to really love my customers, despite of CLV, MRR, the knowledge level, and the level of respect to us, because we're in the marketing industry, right? So yeah, it's a really difficult one. The second highest turnover rate in the world because of all the emotional stress. You kind of walk day and night, and then you're always the stupid one and the guilty one, kind of, right? That's the industry we're in. So, and you gotta love your customers, and you're gonna make your decisions out of that love, regardless of what's going on. And through this, you'll become the best partner for them. Actually, I see people are coming back to me, and they say, "I saw like whatever you do. Can I, introduce you something, put you somewhere? I'm in a new job. Yes. Can I put you in? I just saw like what you do, whatever, something like this, right? But it is coming from that genuine willingness to help who you serve, your customers, run, and of course you're not just gonna do it by yourself, but you're gonna organize your business doing that. How about you?
I think there's a lot discussed. For me, I don't really know how to answer the question about God and business, because for me, it's how I do life. So it's not really separated to business, not business. It's really hard to explain. A lot of my examples, because with my my business is more new, but a lot of my examples would be in my dental career. So I've been to a lot of crazy places, New Zealand. I've been to Turkey after the earthquake as well for mission work as well. And how I got there was purely God leading me. So I can't specifically say that one decision and explaining that. In terms of the people that I work with, I think a lot of people that I work with now, some are Christians but still live in the dark, some are non-Christians, and in the dental career, it's a lot of competitiveness, and that's not biblical at all, because we live in abundance. Dentists like to compete with each other and and that's not how I live life, and they love to worry, have a lot of anxiety, and the staff there love gossiping and all this stuff. So for me, I'm not involved in all this, and I think that's part of me living out my faith. People know, sounds a bit weird, or she doesn't engage in that, and people get quite low sometimes as well. They get quite depressed, and so it's my job to stay clean myself, but also to bring people up, build people up. So a lot of dentists work high stress environment. They can be quite impatient. Why are you so slow? Or saying a lot of mean things. So for me, it's just how I interact with them. Obviously with my patients as well. I'm not the healer. Okay, I'm just assisting, and it's amazing how little I do, and I can see like God lets me be in a position to witness his healing power is really, really amazing. Never gets old. And yeah, so a lot of patients come in, and I can do very little for them, but it's just I pray for them. I really do. I go home and I pray for them.
You as a dentist at praying for your patients. Right?
It should be the norm. Okay, pray and then.
You put it in the list of services, like we.
No, but I specifically
pray, and also we try
at
to
home.
so.
Okay. But yeah, like the specific patients, actually quite often that God brings in, and the reason why He gave it to me and not another dentist is because He wanted me to pray. I know it. Like I know it now. Like people going brain surgery tomorrow, I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's how I live my faith. In terms of secular job or the other business, actually, I didn't think of starting another business until like mid last year. I thought I want to make teddy bears, I wanted to do all sorts of crazy things. But actually God led me. I went to go to a lot of business conferences, and God brought the right people and led me into what I think He wants me to do now. And I believe that right now, as I'm starting out and starting our first project, that before our tenants move in, that we'll pray over the property and pray over everyone that's about to move in. I know that the property that we've acquired, that throughout the whole process, I've been praying, and I know that it's God's portion, and God has our name written on the right projects, and God has already aligned the right tenants. It's just, we're just following. So
That's for sure.
yeah. So I suppose, I don't know whether that relates to that.
That's
but
great. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just how I do life. So
Share these things with us next time when you come.
yeah.
Right?
So when people
It's
ask me,
amazing.
like my parents are not Christian, when they ask me, oh, why are you doing this, or this is so random, or why suddenly you're so interested in all this business thing, and they get a bit concerned, I explain to them that, hey, I feel, yeah, God told me this, and they know I'm Christian for a long time. They might not understand, but I suppose that's me sharing a bit.
Yeah,
Not
thank
sure
you.
whether that answers the question.
It does. What about you? Next week, what are you gonna do? Top line.
In particular, the Eco Village is where if God asks you to do something like do an NGO or do a business startup or whatever startup, or even start a family, and you don't have the money, or you fear of losing the money, then you should stay in the Eco Village and do a business from the Eco Village, because it's at almost no cost or low cost, and you can compete with anybody. So I felt that Eco Village is the platform to start whatsoever business or whatever startup you want to do. And in the event that you fail, you can always fall back to your own farm, your own permaculture farm. And also, this will be the training ground for evangelists or missionaries to learn how to harvest water, how to harvest energy, so they can go to the most remote place on the earth, the poorest place on the earth, and show them how things can be done equally good, if not better. So that's how
That's
I
great.
feel my interest can help in the Great Commission.
Yeah, thank you. Consider it. Go to Eco Village, grow carrots and doing business. What does it grow there?
It can grow many things.
Salad.
Bali soil is very fertile, and if the soil is not fertile, you will learn how to do composting, how to make the soil fertile, and literally you can survive anywhere in the world.
Thank you. You pass the mic back. There's one there.
For me, I think what I loved from the story of the Nature Sweet Tomatoes, the founder, or like that guy who's the director, I think one thing that he said really hit me. He said, "I'm pursuing a vision that I will not see in my generation," and that really puts the focus on and the spotlight not on you. It's how you align your work and your purpose towards something that's so larger than you. And I feel like that's a question I want to ask myself this week. Like, what does that look like? And how can I align my skills to pursue a vision that's so much larger than myself and my life and my net worth and all of that stuff? And how can I pass this on? So something to think about.
And it's graces and whatever you can achieve in your life, and then you are no longer afraid, and you no longer blame yourself when you didn't achieve something, right? That's
I don't think it's the blame or the removing of pressure. I love the pressure. I love creativity and success and all of those things, but it's also not about me, and it's not about how much I've made through this process. And it's really about how much I've given.
Well, before I share, I'll take some time, but I wanted to share the word of God in Romans chapter 10. Aside from living a life of integrity and all this, I think these are like the basic, of being faith-driven entrepreneurs, or as Christians, we are called to be the salt and the light, right? So, but Paul admonishes the people, how then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. So, it's not just, I think Alex pointed out earlier, it's not just about living that life of integrity, but really being intentional, stepping out, sharing the faith with people, our faith with people, right? The good news and the hope that Jesus brings. And I think it's like the cancer app. I like that. So for me, I think it's a simple question is asking how are you to people, and actually really caring about what people answer, taking a genuine
problem of the
interest.
English language, right? So
Yeah, sorry.
in English, right? We ask how are you, and
It's just it's just a passing question. We don't really care about what the other person says sometimes.
饱了吗? Right? The same.
吃饱了吗?
吃饱了吗?
Yeah. So
I was actually answering this question for the first 2 years of living in Singapore. Then I realized nobody cared whether I have eaten or not. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so asking people a simple question like "How are you?" and actually taking genuine interest in people. Maybe it's because of my profession, so I have to, really take a genuine interest in people to find out what they like and whatever. But as entrepreneurs, sometimes we don't think about our employees, our clients, our co-workers. When we ask them, how are you? Like I said, we don't really care. Sometimes we are so busy with performance. And, when we are coaching people, for example, if you meet a poor performer, what are you going to do, right? And I've had 2 examples, poor performers. Before the meeting, I'm so charged. I want to tell them I'm going to terminate you, right, on the spot. But after hearing from them, and then God reminds me of how broken I was and the man that I was, yet God could forgive me, and that God could, was patient with me, and I had people who were patient with me, and that's why I could ride that through. Then, at the end of the meeting, instead of terminating them, I say, okay, let's try again. Be gracious. Somebody said being gracious and showing kindness. So in the midst of the coaching, some testimonies of the Great Commission is when I asked one of my financial consultants, how are you? I didn't expect that answer, but when she started sharing about her life, that opened the gospel door for me. And I told her that, to cut the long story short, I offered her the hope that Jesus came to give and bring that life, that hope. And then I led her to salvation there and then. So aside from that, I agree praying for your clients or your customers. I think that should be the norm. We're Christians, we're called to go and pray and be a blessing to people. So I do that for my clients as well. And when you take a genuine interest, I've met clients who share about their life, about being in depression and all. And then I can pray for them and let's see what God wants to do in their lives, whether or not they. So far, I haven't met people who would reject, even for non-Christians, right? Can I just pray a blessing for you before I leave? Nobody would say no to a blessing, even if they're of a different religion, right? So something for us to maybe think about. I want to end with a short story about myself, where God took us to a place. So I've been in my previous firm for all my life. I'm the 3rd generation in this industry. And I never thought I would leave my previous firm until some incident that forced me to have to consider leaving. And when I made the decision, I saw how God spoke to me to leave. So He spoke through Exodus. You know the story of Exodus. God bringing the people of Israel out of Egypt and to the promised land. So when God spoke to me, I thought like, okay, that's great, right? I'll trust in you. I'll follow you where you want me to go. And when I went to my current firm, I saw how God turned the adverse circumstance that I was facing into blessings. So because of that move, I had a package offered to me, and I made a lot of money. And something that Kenny just pointed out, when I made a lot of money, I said to God, you know what? This is really the promised land that you're bringing me to, right? And thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. But because of that, because of making a lot of money, then my eyes shifted. And if you remember the book of Exodus, when the people of Israel left Egypt, they were slaves in Egypt. But when they left Egypt, The Bible says that the Egyptians gave them their silver and gold to get out of this place, right? So they became a wealthy nation. And guess what? When they left, what did they do with that wealth that God blessed them with? They used the gold to build the golden calf. Ironic, isn't it? Right? That was what happened to me, because with all the blessings, in 5 months, I made so much money that I never had before and never thought I could make in such a quick time. But that became my idol. And so I lost all that money, every single cent. I lost mid seven, you know. And today, I go around sharing. I didn't want to share my story with anybody because of you're my financial advisor, but you lost your money in investments, in trading. How can I trust you, blah, blah, blah. But God spoke to me one day. That's why I say I went into depression or suicidal. And, you know, after that, amazingly, God connected me to Salt and Light. Somehow, that's another story. But from there, I started sharing my journey with clients about stewardship. Even non-Christians can understand the wisdom of stewardship, right? And so this helps me to disciple not just Christians about stewardship, about what really matters. You know, today, if you leave this world, Jesus said, right, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moths and rust cannot corrupt. So I just want to encourage us, like this week, how we can really apply this, being intentional about praying, about walking in our faith, not being in a closet. Yeah.
Thank you very much. At least one of you want to share something? The experienced one, or okay? Let's. So we are close to 8. Everybody hungry? Let's limit it to a few minutes each.
I mean, just
yeah.
really quickly, right? Just addressing what are some of the first steps. It's still very fledgling Christian for myself. Really just learn more, listen to more testimonies. I mean, what brought me...
That's exactly what this community is for, actually. Listening to other people.
What brought me back into faith was a testimony about DMV, right? There was Jasper from Easy who was there. I was in venture capital before. And the idea of faith-based investing was very interesting. So through that tough time, I just started looking up, then I connected to Chris from DMV, and here I am today, right? That's a long story short, but still a lot more to learn. You know, I'm grateful for the opportunities that God has opened doors, right? Right now I'm with this company, and its mission is much greater. Like what you mentioned, it's not something that I will be able to see in the fruits of my generation by the time, you know, your time on earth ends in a way, but impact later on. And I'm just, you know, grateful to be able to get back my life on track.
Yeah, you look different, actually, just compared to a few sessions back. And not just you, I mean, I look at everyone transformed. I don't know. It's so amazing. People, I don't say it's because of the sessions, right? But it's you are tuning yourself back to God, you know, synchronize the frequencies. Then you look different, you behave different. You are happy. You are happy. You are happy. You are happy. You know, when you come here first time, you were like crying almost. You know, somebody literally crying. Yeah. So yeah, you are in this role, right? Maybe we just few minutes. We wanted to say what we're gonna do next. So, what are you gonna do next week apart from Python programming?
Yeah, so I've been spending a lot of time applying for jobs and doing my coding class. So I will carve out maybe a few hours to help the 2 organizations that I said just now.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I think mine is a little bit more interesting, a bit more special case because I'm in the education space, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm quite different from a lot of you guys, as in your approach to speaking about your faith, because in education you have to be quite careful about things to say, because a lot of the students are from different faith and they are young children. So one thing that I like to do is I travel around Southeast Asia a lot, particularly to this country, Laos. and I think that's a place where God called me there as well. So I just went there like a few months ago on a kind of like a teaching trip, but behind it's kind of like a mission trip for me lah. So I paid out of my own pockets most of the time, but I was thinking, hey, if I keep doing this, I'm going to run out of money eventually, right? Because of the way we conduct our programs, and I'm genuinely very passionate about what I do. So people always like to have us in their countries, in their organizations. I was just thinking, just looking at a list of requests. All of those are from non-profits who don't have funding. So I was thinking, okay, I have about 7 more to go in 2025. What am I going to do, right? So I was just praying to God, saying, hey, please help me, help me with this. I can't keep spending money on this. And just so happened, the organizer who called us to Laos like a few months ago, called us back and said, hey, actually we love what you do. How about we connect you with a company instead? Then sure, why not? And then they actually reached out, and now they are sponsoring our entire event. So they're flying us there, they're paying for us everything to go there, and I just need to teach. So 80% of the time I'll be doing my own non-profit stuff, 20% of the time I'll do a bit of programs for them, right? So they get some benefits as well. So I think that was something that was very, very, very blessed, and something that I'm very, very, I guess, it comes in the places and time that least expected. Like I definitely could have planned this out, and he opened this path for me, and I took it. So I think the best way for me to continue this is to live my life through Christ, and because some of times the children or the parents will ask, hey, how do you turn out like that? You're in your early 20s, and my son is early 20s. Your students are early 20s as well. How come you're so different? And objectively speaking, I can say, okay, I've been doing business since I was young and everything, right? But I think at the end of the day, it was because I was born in Christ. I was raised up in church. And that to me was, I guess, something that I couldn't really explain to parents or even the students. How come is it that we are different? It's because I live my life in faith. And so that is how I think I intend to spread the word and continue to do it. The business as well as to spread the word about Christ. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Great job, thank you. Well, you need to tell us what you're going to do in the next 7 days. Then after that we can wrap up. Yes.
Okay, yes.
What are you going to do in the next 7 days to apply what you learned?
I think it's really just being intentional, right? Like having more of that presence with God, no agenda, and letting Him do His work in you, so that when you come out with those conversations with people, interactions with people, we're living out our faith, we're living out our identity in Christ, right? And I think just to share as well, like some of the girls who were here last time, they know this, and we got pretty emotional. But I think just to share, like I was impacted in TikTok a few months ago, and that's how and God called me to move into the finance industry. So long story short, and I'm really seeing God's provision, really seeing God being faithful and never leaving nor forsaking me. As we continue to seek first His kingdom, right, and all else will be added to you. And I think that's really what's most crucial and what's most important. That you may feel that you're not qualified, but God qualifies the call, right? And so when we live out our values, we don't always have to be explicit about it. I know you mentioned education industry is a bit different, but I do think that with every person we interact with, we have that impact, we have that influence, and it's about being able to teach that or share those godly and biblical principles. The intangibles are what matters most. It's not about the accolades, the achievements, the titles, the positions, but rather that we're actually focusing on what's most important. And when you have that eternity focus, when you choose to stand in God's will, right? To stand by God's side and follow that, and not the other way around, and not asking God, hey God, are you here with me? But the real question here is, are you on God's side? Right? So
Moses also felt not qualified, right?
Exactly. So yeah, just like the heroes of faith, I think there's a lot to learn from them, and a lot that we can still apply today, because the same God then is the same God today.
Next, pass the mic.
Okay, I think I'll have to pray about what I could do next, but I think definitely I could start. What I've learned from today is should be intentional about praying for our clients as well. Yeah, difficult, but yeah.
It actually helps you, allows them to pray for them. Try it. If there's some client that pisses you off, you pray for the client. You actually will feel really good, and it will be transformation. It works 100%.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
so
rule of
that's what I'm gonna do.
yeah. Try. Oh yeah, that's great. Just apply it every day. Yes.
Mine is pretty simple. Like I share about it quite a lot, but I think maybe is in terms of context, I would weave it in more strongly in terms of like my presence on social media, and have more faith in the words that God asked me to speak, instead of like holding back. Like like these words are not something that I would say. Like I'm gonna get judgment from this. Instead of that, maybe have more faith in the path that He's leading me.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, just to affirm Gwen, I didn't want to share this what I read in my devotion this morning, but what she said bonus is basically okay. So today the devotional talks about how we should give people the identity in Christ, and so the story was Pastor shared. The story was there was a beggar on the street, and everyone gave him money, but every day is the same. One day someone gave him a paper and a pencil and wrote something on it. The next day the beggar turned out okay and he became a rich businessman.
Take some pizza.
So
don't live like that.
Yeah. So basically, what the story was about was, So basically, what the devotional was about was that the guy who wrote on the paper gave the beggar a new identity. And the beggar lived out the new identity. It says you are a businessman, and he succeeded. So you always want to give people their identity in Christ, and not just what the world calls them or what the world likes to call people by their mistakes and their sin, which is not true. So I read the devotional, and I think to affirm Gwen, I did something quite random. I have a BD guy, so I wrote, "You are a deal maker and a finder of value people connector," and then he just replied, "Yeah, correct." So I do random things like that. Like I read the devotional, I said, "Give people identity." The rest my BD guy, sometimes he feel very unsure of himself, so I just say, "You are just." He asked me some random stuff about event tomorrow. I just said, I before I reply, I just say, "You're a deal maker, finder of value people connector." He said, "Yeah, correct." So I'm just saying to affirm you, having that prompting, just do it. There are a lot of us doing a lot more bolder things, but it takes faith. I always pray for faith to take all these bold steps. I start out my first faith step was asking the Lord what spectacles I should buy. That's the smallest faith step I took in life. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone? Yeah.
Sorry, just to add something. So I think like our customers and our clients and our patients, this is what I believe. So I don't know, but they're not random. I think God brought it to you, because okay, I'm a dentist and I'm the second or the third dentist in the clinic. So in order for the patient to come to me, the first one must be fully booked, and then the second one must be fully booked, and then it comes to me, right? So I am always amazed because God's provision. Sometimes the patient comes for a clean, and I ask them, "Oh, what brings you in today?" "Oh, I've never had a clean, 40, 50, 60 years." And I'm like, you will walk in a shopping mall, and suddenly you think to yourself, "Oh, I should have a clean." But it's never popped in your brain, and I was like, that's God's provision. I'm like, you'll be it. And then, sometimes the shopping mall, one escalator would be blocked. And I often tell myself, it's because that's God's provision for the other shops on the other side, and they've been praying to God, like, please give me more customers. So our customers and our patients, our tenants or whatever, they're not random. I think that every single one is brought by God. So that's fine.
Including very complicated ones for us to be trained. All right. Thank you. That the escalators, I really love it. I didn't think about it this way. Also, just an opportunity to make an exercise, but sometimes, yeah, maybe that's how it works. Okay, anyone else want to share? Okay, so there was an 8th session. Usually it means that group is just finished and things get restarted. In Singapore, we decided that we do it always on, and because there's so many videos in there devoted to these 8 core topics, we're just going to pick up different videos for the same topics, and we're just going to continue. We're not sure whether this will be here, because this hall is supposed to start getting renovated, And at certain point of time, we will either move to another office in here, or we will move maybe to CBD. We will find a place. Yes, so make sure you're in a group, and you monitor where we are meeting next, and also get an even brighter ourselves. But other than that, our group is permanent. We intend to run it continuously, and we want to make it a community where you can always come and share. And I agree, the most valuable part here is that you hear that you are not alone, but others actually facing very similar things, and then they solve it in different ways. And how they connect it back to Christianity. And when I say this is the most valuable, because it's not the pastor talking or some very famous, speaker talking, but it's actually us talking to each other and share. And I think that is something that you wouldn't hear anywhere else at the moment in Singapore. I really hope we get other new groups starting. So again, the last call: if you got your church, got an entrepreneur society, you feel like you get a pastor or somebody in a church willing to run it, send them my way or MDE way. And we hope that it'll be bigger and bigger. We want to be a second alpha soon. And it's already happening. Practice went here, there in the city now, as it was here yesterday and here is today. So it's going to be big, and it's just very soon. It's already starting, already moving. So our job is just to facilitate and amplify. Good work for God. Thank you very much. Pizza is, I think, already cold, but it's quite a bit behind. Please feel free to grab some snack. Coffee machine is there. The capsules there as well if you like coffee or water. And one ask is don't leave any pizza here. Really eat it. Please finish it. If you want to go home and even you're like in a nice diet like you are, like really doing all the sport, you're still gonna get some pizza and eat it. Yes, that's a must. Thank you very much, guys. Nice to meet you all.